El futuro tiene nada más que la confrontación.
Hey, welcome to Unpopular Opinion. I am your host, Adam Tod Brown. I used to write a bunch of weekly columns for a bunch of internet places, and I would use those columns to put forth all sorts of crazy opinions. Then, I'd come on this show to defend those opinions. But now, I'm a robot. Joining me today, he's my co-host on a podcast called Unpops Music. He also hosts a podcast of his own called Ghoul School, and another podcast called Look Good for the Boys. He does it all. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Sell. Also joining me, you know our next guest from the Conspiracy the Show podcast. At least you should. If you don't, you should be listening to better podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, Olivia Haidar. It's gonna be a great show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Unpopular Opinion. I'm your host, Adam Tod Brown. Joining me today as co-host, my favorite co-host of all, no co-host, but Jeff will be back next week, probably, who knows.
Maybe.
But I do got a room full of guests, a virtual room. COVID is still real. Don't act like it's not. Case in point, Olivia Haidar is here, my co-host on Conspiracy the Show. If you don't know that,
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that, and I am here, and COVID is here. It's real. COVID is real.
Well, come on, you're representing the conspiracy pod. You're not supposed to.
Oh, right. No, okay, yeah, no. COVID is. What's the one right now? It's like it's real, but it's not that big a deal.
I think it's real, but like Dems launched it as a
right. It's like to Soros
and the
yeah,
and things. It's all true. It's all true. Hey, Andy Sell's here too. Andy, my co-host on Unpops Music, among other things.
You can't even see it. I got my Baja Blast, but it's green, so it's blending in with the background.
I sort of see it. Andy, how are things in Minneapolis?
Things in Minneapolis are fine. There's no COVID anymore. I was just on a plane. Nobody was wearing a mask. Flight attendants weren't wearing a mask. There's no COVID. It's gone.
It's appropriate that we're talking about all these locales around the country because we're talking about local news today. We're doing another local news roundup episode because, hey, places that aren't New York and California matter too. And also there's like New York and California news in here. That's not really these episodes. They're just kind of easy to research and they're fun. Not always lighthearted. Most of this isn't going to be lighthearted, but all right, let's get into some local.
Let's get local.
Woo!
Can we talk about Jenna Malone? Superhero on and off camera. Well, not superhero. She's never played a superhero.
I don't think she's ever played this.
Which makes her a superhero to me.
She was in
the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Books.
It's not really a superhero.
No, she's not. She's like a freedom.
I have already rolled that back. We don't need to spin this off into a 15-minute talk.
Are you sure?
I kind of feel like it after the last because this is going to take a dark turn. I saw this on local news the day it happened because I live in LA and I'm one of those weirdos who will turn on the local news in the evening to see what's happening around town. And also because I watch Jeopardy. So it's
sure.
You gear up for that. You watch half an hour of national news and then you watch Jeopardy. So I saw this report happen the day it happened.
Oh my God.
This guy was walking a dog down the street in a heavily congested part of Los Angeles. If I'm not mistaken, he was right by where the Earwolf podcast studio is, which is like Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, when I saw the name of where he was, that was the least surprising part of the story. Because I don't know if anyone here listening, if you haven't been to Hollywood Boulevard, it is Bartertown from Thunderdome. Like
nightmare. Like
it is.
Until you've been there, I'm sure it sounds very fancy.
There is a 6-block stretch of Hollywood Boulevard that is just like, wow, it's just literally a parade of all of our failures as a species.
Yeah.
Basically,
that's where I lived when I first moved to LA for the first month, right on Hollywood and Highlands, in a hostel there.
Oh.
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, I saw this story. I was like, to be fair, he was probably trying to fight off the guys with the snakes on their arms.
Right.
Well, this wasn't that part of Hollywood.
No, it's the other.
No, this further. This is more like the
Los Feliz area, right?
Yeah, sure. This was like, I feel like this was like the where Amoeba Records used to be, in like that stretch, like the Arby's where Patton Oswalt took the Emmy picture. Like, I think it was that kind of stretch because Earwolf was in that general vicinity, and it just looked like that's where he was at. But either way, he was in a busy part of Los Angeles, and this part is dark. He was walking a dog, and the way people describe what he was doing, he was swinging the dog in the air by its leash and then slamming it on the ground.
Jesus.
With so many people, like Tupac assassination level number of witnesses, just so many people around. And this is LA, and that's a dog you're fucking with.
Yeah.
So this like stopped time, like clocks stopped, cars stopped moving, electronics stopped working. People got out of their car and started chasing this guy. And the first person to start chasing him, as it turns out, was actor Jenna Malone of Sucker Punch fame. That's always going to be my first Jenna Malone. I'm sorry. And I remember seeing this news report, and they're interviewing all the people who were involved, and they talked to the person who was holding the dog. And I was like, is that a comedian? Have I done a show with her? Who is that? Because Jenna Malone, like, she's recognizable, but not that recognizable.
Yeah, she is. I think it was I was at Cinefamily watching a movie once, and she was next to me in the same row as me, and the whole time I was like, who the fuck is, like, I know this person. I know her. I know she's an actress. I couldn't place her. And then afterwards, somebody was like, oh yeah, it was Jenna Malone. I was like, oh, of course. Do you think the guy with the dog, when he saw Jenna Malone running at him, he was like, I know her from somewhere?
Oh, probably.
She was young Jodie Foster in Contact. That's who it was.
That's who she is.
She did the mirror shot. Okay.
And Jenna Malone has a thread on Twitter about this.
Yeah.
And the way she describes it is she sees this and just pulls over and starts running toward the guy. She sees someone in an orange vest and is like, run with me, which, I mean, this is LA. I'm going to need a little more information in most cases, unless I can see the guy swinging the dog.
Or if it's Jenna Malone. I feel like if Jenna Malone runs at you and says, come with me, you're going, you're just. But
again, I saw Jenna Malone holding the dog on the news, and I was like,
who is that?
Does she host a show I did at a bar? She's just got, like, if it said Jenna Malone, I would have been like, oh shit, that's the Jenna Malone. But even then, I would have been like,
Girls or something.
I would have been like, the Jenna Malone? Yeah. Oh no, it is. Look at, rewind it.
Honestly, this is just a testament to how unfortunate Jenna Malone's career has been for the last 5 years. It's really a shame. Like, she deserves a lot better than the roles that she's gotten.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I when I saw these notes, I saw Jenna Malone's name and I was like, okay, I know who that is. But let me look her up.
So rude to Jenna Malone.
Let me look her up. And then I was like, oh yeah, the
this dog's life.
No, I love Jenna Malone.
I'm never going to forget who she is again.
It does seem like I'm reading her first tweet It's she says it was on Sunset.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say earlier, I was like, I think the Amoeba was on Sunset and the Arby's was on Sunset.
Yeah, so, I was naming the wrong street.
Yeah, and that's the thing is this is that part of Hollywood where it's like there's a lot of people usually around.
Yeah.
And not the crazies. So you wouldn't just look at the crazy thing and be like, oh, this is the crazy part of Hollywood. This is the part of Hollywood where you would have intervention.
I don't think there's anywhere where you can swing a dog like a lasso. I
don't know, man.
Get away with it.
Walk by the McDonald's next.
Crazy.
Walk by the McDonald's next to Ripley's Believe It or Not sometime.
Sure.
I feel like you've seen some crimes in front of that place.
I mean, I've definitely seen some crimes there. But
speaking of crimes, at first, when they showed this on the news, all they show you is this guy getting savagely by such a... It looks like the United colors of Benetton. Like you can tell there's a gay dude there. There are fucking construction workers. One of them was probably an undercover cop. Like it looked like mankind had finally united over one common enemy. And it was this guy that was beating the shit out of this innocent dog.
The entire Village people took a break from the Hollywood YMCA to come beat the shit out of this guy.
And when they first showed it, they were like, is this reaction over the top? And when they just show that cutting to commercial, you're like, yeah, I bet it is. That's and then they explain what the guy was doing, and it's like, oh no, I get it.
No, that makes sense.
People are gonna, and they gave him some kicks. With a pole a couple times. It's
like a teensy little dog too. If you see the picture of it,
dog.
It's like a teensy little white dog. And then Jill Malone is like, the dog had fractured ribs and broken bones in the hind. Like, fuck that. Fuck that guy. He deserved to get his ass kicked.
And then in the news story, if I can find the actual news report, I'll link to it, because there's another great moment where they're like, up next, we're going to hear from the man and hear his side of the story. The whole time, I'm like, what if he makes a really good point?
What if he had like a very legitimate reason for swinging the dog in the air?
What if he states his case and I'm like,
oh, you know what? Wow. I take it back. He seems like a reasonable guy.
Have you ever seen The Matrix? There were bullets flying in the air. I can prove it. But no, they cut to him and he's still on the ground and he just goes, it's my dog. It should listen to what I say. It's like, all right, you didn't need to build the drama for that, Ryan Seacrest. Come on. And then they also interview the dog's owner, who, as it turns out, was this guy's mom.
Not the guy. So Jesus. It wasn't, he's like, it's my dog. Right. Let me stop you right there, sir. You're already full of shit.
Right. Not his dog. He stole it from his mom. And the person interviewing her asked if she thought that the beating he received in response for this was excessive. And her response was something along the lines of, I'm on Champion's side. Champion is
hell yeah,
the dog's name. So yeah, let's move on to a different story. We're really drilling down on local news. I don't know if
we finally get one in my neck of the woods.
I feel like I might be the only one here, and maybe not. Hopefully you both read the article. A jury in Wisconsin, Door County, Wisconsin, like Door County, just found an 86-year-old man guilty of his wife's 1975 murder. And I'm skeptical. Here's the thing, not skeptical that he killed his wife. I don't doubt that. There's certainly more than possible. But as you read this story, it feels like there's not enough there to convict this man of murder.
Okay, but one thing you need to understand, Adam, is that when God closes a missing persons case in Door County, he opens a murder window.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's
I bet you're going to say Window County.
Yeah, I was waiting for Window County. That was a real missed opportunity.
I needed to workshop this. This was off. I needed to diagram it out a little bit.
Well, it's okay. We're just giving notes.
We're just I mean, this is just a rough draft of this.
The workout room, you know.
Come see me next time I get booked on like an actual show that's not a mic. I'll have this. It'll be worked out.
This is just the table read version.
When God closes a door, county missing persons.
Oh yes, let's keep doing this.
But am I wrong? But the details.
Yes, no, you're not wrong.
Against this guy, it seems like the whole case against him is, come on, it had to be him.
Come on.
The whole basis of this case is we would like to not have a cold case on our files.
He had to have done it. He had to have done it.
Basically, they reopened this cold case. This guy, his name is Richard Pierce. His wife's name was Carol Jean Pierce. She disappeared in 1975, and he was like,
I'm sorry, she disappeared.
I don't get it. No, it's the words disappeared. Her last name is Pierce.
Okay, you're right.
It's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, easy mix up. His claim was always, well, she just left me. She didn't like me anymore, and she wanted to go off and start a new life. And apparently there was some indication that she told her mom that she wanted to leave in Michigan.
I'm sorry, his name is Dick Pierce.
That is what you are absolutely losing your shit over right now.
But his regnal name is Prince Albert.
So for years and years and years, this woman was just missing, and it was cold case. They searched his property in 2008 over this, and they also searched his property in 2018. And in 2018, I believe, is when they reopened this cold case. And their whole argument is, well, he stood to gain from her being dead. And it's like, well, first of all, any married couple with an insurance policy, the spouse in theory stands to gain if that person was dead. But in this case, it seems like there's not even an insurance policy. They stood to gain from a pension unencumbered by a wife. What?
That's a stretch. He stood to gain a new girlfriend. Don't you understand?
Yeah.
He stood to gain his freedom back. Am I right, fellas?
Yeah.
It's just, seems like a stretch even for cops.
And they said he got a new girlfriend not long after his wife died. And here's the thing. I'm sure he killed her. I don't know. But also, if I was on the jury, I would not, I cannot envision a world where I would be like, yeah, of course he's guilty.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not. You do not convict this case. I'm sorry. No. This is wild also because, I mean, it is odd that there is no follow-up from the wife if she just went on a spirit journey and went to go find herself, live, laugh, love style. But I don't know.
Sometimes bad people just get away with crimes.
And it's like you said, that is theoretically how our justice justice system is supposed to work. Is a person can get away with murder if the case isn't there, if there's not evidence, if you can't, that's how it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to just be like, well, no, I feel like he is guilty. But also, this reminds me of Serial, the first season of Serial with Adnan, where it's like, he probably did it. But also, there was clearly not overwhelming evidence in that case, and he shouldn't have been convicted. But these are not ideas that the American people are very well equipped to hold in their mind at the same time?
Because in general, we conflate the idea of incarceration with punishment, and we equate the idea of punishment with rehabilitation. And that's if we're thinking with our hearts, the other side of it is people that just want to be punitive out of a sense of vindictiveness or vengeance. And it's just like the way our system is supposed to work is that I would rather 10 guilty people go free than one innocent person ever spend a day in jail. Like that's the idea behind it. And also it's like 1975. Come on. That was,
I mean, honestly,
let it go. He did it.
People just don't want to be wrong. Also, like in cases, not necessarily like this, but man, I know people don't love it, but my unpopular opinion when it comes to people who seem like they maybe didn't get a completely fair shake in their trial is Scott Peterson. Like if you look into the actual evidence against Scott Peterson, it is shaky as fuck. Like the fact that he went fishing and then her body washes up in that same spot like 3 months later, that's not how that would work. And barely decomposed. There are witnesses that saw her walking a dog at a certain time of day. And if they're correct, there's no way he did it. And then the police were just like, nah, they were all wrong. They got the date wrong. It's one of the ways TV has been really bad for court TV was a travesty. Nancy Grace is a criminal and should be in criminal jail. Like all of that trial by media stuff that happened in the 90s really, man, that really helped shitty cops do their job unimpeded for a long, long time. Because once you get it in the public's mind that, well, the boyfriend always did it, the spouse always did it. If the crime's especially brutal, it's a crime of passion. Like all of this lazy textbook police work shit that just is treated like law. But when you dig into it, it's just getting innocent people.
Yeah, propaganda shows and court dramas too, like have for a long time been like offering up examples of, investigative forensic science that are deeply flawed, but like putting them in their narratives as if they're like stone cold fact, as if they're undisputable.
Yeah, the only true crime show I still really fuck with on Investigation Discovery is called See No Evil. And the one thing I like about it is it's hard for them to really be dishonest about the evidence that they're finding or showing, because it's all based on surveillance footage. Like they'll find footage from like an ATM camera, from a gas station, and just kind of track the movements of this crime, and it makes it really clear. So
it's just like if the opening titles for The Wire was a whole show.
Pretty much, yeah. Cool. And it is a fantastic reminder that we are always being watched, just like all the time, under all circumstances.
Yeah, there
is someone watching. Amazon's going a long way toward making that happen.
Yeah.
Ring doorbells obviously are part of that, but also their delivery trucks and vans are all outfitted with surveillance cameras to keep you safe from the drivers acting up. And it's especially a problem in Chicago, which is where the last story we're going to talk about on this episode takes place. Chicago, people, it doesn't get the attention it deserves, but Chicago, like the Chicago PD, has built one of the most robust surveillance networks in the entire world.
Wait, are you saying the police department that had a secret like black site detention center that nobody knew about is also somehow involved in like deep surveillance somehow? Right. That's insane to me. A black site that nobody knew about, but that was also featured on an episode of The Good Wife. Well before that story broke. Yeah, it was called Home and Square. And it was exactly that. The Chicago PD would arrest someone and then drive them to this place no one knew existed and interrogate them first a little bit there.
So if their lawyer came looking for them, they would just be like, well, they're in transit to the station. We don't know where they are. And people would just disappear long enough to sometimes get coerced into confessing before they can even talk to a lawyer. Big problem. It is.
I wouldn't imagine that they're involved in anything else nefarious.
Well, it's part of the reason. It's actually one of the primary reasons the death penalty was overturned in Illinois. At one point, this one cop in Chicago confessed to coercing confessions out of something like 250, 300 people.
Yes.
And some of them were on death row or were executed. And the governor was like, we can't just kill all these people. We have to figure out which ones were tied to that guy, how many other cops were like him out there who also sent people to death row. And Chicago, it's crazy. Chicago PD is nuts. And they have now built this huge surveillance network. Their surveillance cameras, they basically integrate all, if you let them, if you have a fucking vape shop that has a surveillance camera on it, if you let them, they will just integrate that right into their own.
They'll backdoor right in.
And the thing they're doing now, Chicago home and business owners who are concerned about violent crime in Chicago, which is everyone, they will soon be eligible for rebates to defray the cost of security cameras, outdoor motion sensor lighting, cloud storage, and vehicle GPS trackers. And this is, at least in part, one of Lori Lightfoot's schemes to get reelected.
Right.
Well, it's also just Lori Lightfoot's I love the police.
Oh, yeah. And
never put a GPS tracker on your car that a cop gave to you. That I don't even know why I would ever have to say that. But that if anyone is listening to this, that don't do that. That's a terrible idea. They can do that on their own if they really want that information.
Yeah, well, I guarantee the reason they're offering that up is carjackings, because carjackings are either happening at epic proportions in Chicago right now, or they're just being reported on in a way that makes it seem like police can get trackers in everybody's car in Chicago. Who knows? It could go either way. I don't doubt that people are getting carjacked in Chicago.
Sure, it's a big city.
The big city, carjackings happen, but man, I would like to see the numbers on the increase that requires every Chicago citizen to have a GPS tracker in their car if they'll go for it. Because this does seem like a thing. If you got a house, if you want it, police will give you the money to buy it. And yeah, Lori Lightfoot, before this, she gave out gas cards. She gave out some transit cards. She gave out free bicycles. And that's fine. Give people free shit. I'm not mad at that. But this isn't that.
It's funny to give out free bicycles, but not make Chicago a safe city to bike around.
Yeah.
That's a move.
Yes, well, she's literally just trying to get bicyclists killed now. That's what that's about. It's people that ride bikes are on to me.
Don't worry, there's a bike lane. It's right on top of 4 lanes of traffic.
And they do ask that everyone who gets one of these cameras or any of the security equipment, that they register it with the Chicago PD. But please rest assured, you have to give them authorization for them to access that camera footage. And I love this quote from Lori Lightfoot about that. She said she's not comfortable with the idea that, here's the quote, that we're just going to tap into those cameras automatically, emphasis mine, even if the technology would allow CPD to do just that. So please just trust the Chicago PD, citizens of Chicago. They will not access these security cameras and GPS trackers that they are going to buy for you and install in your home. That's the other thing. She also said in one of these press conferences, don't have the tools to install it? Don't worry. We'll send someone out to do it. It's like, Jesus. Why don't you just make it mandatory? Yeah. Why not just say we're sending people out to put cameras on the front of all of your homes?
They're just going to send out a revolver with a single bullet in it to everyone, every minority in Chicago. Just here, you know what to do. Take care of yourself. We're done.
It feels like it's getting to that.
Yeah.
I know. The sad thing is that's not like the most outlandish thing that could possibly.
No.
Well, that was always my concern when Democrats and people, like especially on social media, again, there'd always like whenever there was a school shooting or a mass shooting, and I get it, don't get me wrong, I get the sentiment, but there would always be those people who would post, why can't the government just go out and seize all the guns? It's like, yeah, you want to send a heavily militarized police force into inner city Chicago to seize guns? Like that's the initiative we're backing right now. One, if going to go poorly, it's not going to go great. It's not going to look like what you think it's going to look.
Well, or even if you want to like skew that in the liberal perspective, it's still not great. Where it's like, well, you want to send a bunch of social workers out to the middle of the woods to pick up some guy's shotgun? You think that's going to work out super well?
Just send a trained mental health counselor.
Like, look, I think we need
of Kentucky and talk that gun out of his hand.
We clearly need like comprehensive gun control in the country, but I don't know that either of those are necessarily an ideal solution.
Yeah, I think we should start with like more jobs and economic equality.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. I feel like we should try that and just see how
free healthcare and
because even if that doesn't work, at least we got all those jobs and all that healthcare.
But here's the thing. If we had less economic inequality and affordable healthcare, then we would never get Michael Bay's ambulance. That would just never happen. It would not exist.
John Q on wheels.
It very much is.
And here's the thing. John is good, and it's good on wheels too.
It's like John Q meets Collateral.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
I can't believe that the takeaway I'm going to have from recording this episode is that I need to watch another fucking Michael Bay movie.
You should. It's good.
I can't believe that's where, like, this is the result of me doing this, is that now I'm going to be convinced I have to see a Michael Bay movie.
That is fun, as accurate of a take as we could have on this country in general. We go through all of this horrifying news about things happening around the world.
Yeah.
We come out of it like, but that Michael Bay ambulance.
Yeah.
You got to go see that.
Yeah. Everything is terrible, but at least Michael Bay has learned how to use drone shots.
Yeah.
So, you know, like
that's not how fascism works at all.
And they're great drone shots.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Oh, yeah. Because things keep happening under fascism, you see. You still have sports and movies and like that.
We had the Olympics.
Lenny Riefenstahl.
Nazi Germany.
Got all those things. So I think we did it.
We solved it.
We solved all of these problems. Don't get Chicago police cameras put in your homes.
No, good God, people. Jeez.
And if you do, at least act like you're not sharing the footage with them. I mean, unless your Amazon package gets stolen, then what?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because Amazon,
what else are you going to do?
Amazon notoriously will not send you a replacement if you just like text them.
Yeah.
That's the thing about stolen Amazon packages. Did you just ask Amazon to send you another one? You will. You don't have to don't get me on Nextdoor. Oh my God. That we need to do an episode about Nextdoor someday.
Yeah. Nextdoor. Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with the Ring and all that
it's just normalizing community surveillance.
Yep.
At some point.
Let's see what the problem with that is. How could that go wrong?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's one of those cool things where eventually the government won't have to watch us because we'll just always feel like
Look, I'm going to have to stop you right there. I have certainly never seen a Twilight Zone episode about that. So,
yeah, there's not whole time periods in Germany where that was a thing. Like,
no, for sure.
80s, none of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know what you guys are referencing.
Good time.
Anyway,
good times on this comedy podcast today.
Yeah, this is great.
Do we have anything to plug before we get out of here besides Michael Bay's Ambulance, available on demand and still in theaters?
And still go see it in theaters. Don't make my mistake.
And I don't regret it one bit. Andy, do you have anything to plug?
The new season of Look Good for the Boys is starting very soon, May 13th, right around the corner.
Hell yeah.
Friday, May 13th. Look Good for the Boys is back with season 3. I've got some Ghoul Schools on the way. I think that's all I have. At Andy_Sell on Twitter if I don't delete my account before this episode airs.
Hey, follow whoever takes it after Andy, even if he does.
Yeah.
Sure.
Olivia, do you have anything?
No. I don't. Not really.
All right.
Olivia, we got to get you on a Ghoul School. I need to ask you. I need to
absolutely
send you a thing about a Ghoul School.
Absolutely. I'm always down. I'm always down to pod. I'll plug Adam and I's upcoming Lost rewatch podcast.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I am looking forward to that. I do think that's a thing we should do.
I agree. I've been thinking about it. I think it would be fun.
Don't be a hater.
I hate that show. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Then you won't be on it. That's
maybe
okay.
You will be. Maybe that makes you the perfect person.
Or maybe you will be. We'll have you talk about. We'll have you talk about Paolo and Nikki. That'll be your.
Oh,
get that.
Yeah. Justice.
I love
for Paolo and Nikki.
Great episode of television. Wonderful episode of television of a great show. Anyway,
one of them get buried alive.
They both get buried alive. It's great.
Way to give the fans what they want. Law.
The third season is wild. Anyway.
Patreon.com/unpops, unpopsnetwork.supercast.tech. You can get bonus episodes there. You can also now get full video episodes of this podcast. Like the whole thing. It's not edited as much as the podcast version. It's very sloppy.
Yeah.
But we also still put out the regular podcast version. Obviously, you're listening to it. If you don't want to give us money to watch full video versions, how about you follow us on Instagram at unpops.podcast or on YouTube at unpops. And there we post a whole bunch of, we've started posting video clips. We've started posting like shorter 30-minute video versions of some of the podcasts with like graphics and things. It's all really a whole deal. So yeah, if you want to see what we all look like.
Oh God, no.
That always surprises me when people are like, you look nothing like I thought. It's like, you haven't Googled it once. Like no matter what you're listening on, you can unless you're listening on an iPod, you can probably use the thing you're listening on to just like, oh hey, I wonder what Andy looks like.
I would rather the listener just concoct the fantasy version of me. That would be much happier.
I think that's it, right? That sounds like
it. Sounds like it's it.
Yeah. And
feels like the end of an episode.
Let's get out of here. Olivia, say goodbye.
Bye.
Andy, say goodbye.
Bye. Thank you so much. I love you.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you.
Bring a blood object to Bristol Street. Bring a blood object to Bristol Street.